Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Evolve, where we move from pain to peace, from trauma to triumph, and from worry to faith. Thank you for joining me. Today, we are looking at A Course in Miracles, lesson 332. Fear binds the world and forgiveness sets it free. Fear binds the world and forgiveness sets it free. First sentence says, the ego makes illusions. Truth undoes its dreams by shining them away. Truth never makes attack, it merely is. And by the presence of truth is the mind recalled from fantasies, awakening to the real. Let's look at the first sentence. The ego makes illusions. What illusions? Illusions of what? Of limitation and separation. So those illusions, those dreams, those false ideas of not being good enough, not having enough, scarcity, depravity, lack, unworthiness, those are all illusions that are not true. They are based in fear. And the other thing the ego makes, of which its illusions are made, is the idea of separation, that I can be separate from you, that my life, the way I live my life doesn't affect you, and the way you live your life doesn't affect me. How I feel emotionally doesn't affect the world around me. All of that is false. All of that is illusory. For you can sit next to somebody and without them speaking a word, get a feel for what kind of mood they're in. Untouchable, unseen, and yet we can feel it. Their emotional state, without them taking an action, just their state of being, is affecting you. Because our body is not a barrier, it's a bridge, it's a connection point. And we are the universe is us. Our bodies don't separate us. They're communication devices, so to speak, but definitely not separate. So the ego makes illusions. So anytime we find ourselves throughout the day going, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to achieve this, and if I don't achieve this, it means I'm not good enough, and if I'm not good enough, then I'm not loved, and if I'm not loved, I'm going to be alone and die by myself in a dark room. You know, the mind spins off into these ego-based, fear-based illusion fantasies. It says here, truth undoes its dreams by shining them away. Truth makes no attack. It never attacks. It merely is. And it goes back to that analogy or concept that darkness in the physical world here, darkness is not an entity in and of itself. It is the absence of light. When you shine light, when you shine photons into an area that was previously unlit, the darkness is dispelled immediately because the darkness was not a thing, an entity. It was the absence of something. And so the illusions are the absence of our awakening. The illusions are us, or a part of our mind, being asleep, unaware. It's basically us with our hands over our eyes going, it's dark, I'm scared, I don't have the answers, I don't know where to go next, I don't know what to do, I'm being attacked. Well, the minute we take our hands off our eyes and start to look at what's real, we can see. And we can do that internally as well. The truth doesn't attack. So let's look at what does attack. That which feels weak. Weakness attacks. It says there's nothing as vicious as fear, because when we're afraid, it's us feeling weak. It's us feeling inadequate, not good enough. When we get defensive, it's because we're feeling attacked. And we feel attacked when we believe. In that moment, when we have decided to believe that some part of us is weak and vulnerable and open to being broken, scathed, snapped, constricted, trapped, imprisoned. The truth is, nothing outside us has the power to hurt us. Nothing outside us has the power to break us. Nothing outside us has the power to define who and what we are. Nothing has the power to add or take from us, to add love, to add joy, to take. None of it. So the truth doesn't have to attack. Weakness has to attack. And weakness is an illusion. So we are not weak. We can make ourselves believe we're weak by the stories we tell, by the beliefs we hold about our identity. Humans will always live up to, they will fight to live up to the identity they have assigned to themselves. So if I've assigned an identity to myself as I live in scarcity, I always struggle with finances, I find it really hard to find a committed, loving partner, I struggle, I have to work hard and struggle at a job that I hate just to make ends meet. If that's the story we tell and that's the identity we've adopted, then that is what we will live. We are in command of the stories we tell. We're in command of what we believe about our own lives. And so when we change the story that we tell, we change our experience and we change our own identity. And when we change our identity, we change what we fight for, what we live up to, what we see. So if we stop looking at ourselves as weak and we shift into a different paradigm of I'm resilient, I'm unbroken, I'm a beautiful process, constantly rising, constantly transforming. There's nothing to fix inside of me. I'm always in the process of inner alchemy, creating beauty with the different facets of my being. That's a very different vantage point, and that is a vantage point from a place of wholeness, of unity, of truth. So if we move outside the ego's illusions of limitation and separation, that's what the ego makes, we move into the state and beingness of truth, which is unity, which is complete, which is wholeness, and opposite of limitation, which is expansiveness, growth, creativity, ever-expanding abundance, eternality, infinity, no death, but rather transformation. Always a possibility, opportunities abound. Every problem arises with the solution because they are one and the same. Every challenge is reflecting back to you your strength. Every person we meet is an assignment toward deeper love, toward unconditional forgiveness, toward walking each other home. That's truth. And when we live in that space, fear cannot imprison us because fear has no place in that picture. Fear binds us, forgiveness sets the world free. So let's look then from that, after looking at all of that, what is forgiveness according to the Course in Miracles? Forgiveness is a shift in perception. It's a shift from the victim mentality of I'm weak, you did this to me, I blame you, you are guilty, I'm ashamed, I'm angry, I'm hurt, you have the power to hurt me, you have the power to define my worthiness and my value, you've made me small, you've made me weak because you have that power, and now I'm angry. Let's move out of that. We shift perception when we forgive. It's not letting off the hook. Letting off the hook is still under the umbrella of you're guilty, but I'm gonna let it go. That's not real. That doesn't provide any relief. It's putting a band-aid, a label over something. It's still staying in a place of righteousness. I'm correct. I'm gonna let you go because I have the authority to decide whether you're right or you're wrong. There's judgment in it, there's blame, there's shame, there's criticism, there's so much in that. It's very loaded. So we put that whole concept aside when we forgive in the terms of Course in Miracles, shift perception. No longer are we a victim. You do not have the power to define me. You do not have the power to break me. You do not have the power to add to or take away from the love that I am and the love that I receive and give. When we realize that, when we come home to who and what we are, our wholeness, our power, our resilience, our strength, everything changes. People become a mirror to us. That's one concept. They reflect back to us what we are feeling and believing within. Another concept for forgiveness is projection. When somebody is unable to, and we all do this, don't get into the place where you think you don't do it either. All of us do this, and it really helps to take responsibility Because when we can look at ourselves with authenticity, honesty, and non-judgment, then we can look at other people with that same authenticity and non-judgment. So humans in general, when we have undigested, unprocessed, and have an unwillingness to look at our own pain, our own fear, our own anger, resentment, any emotion like that, sadness, even grief, when we have not digested it, processed it, feel ashamed about it, we've repressed it, we've numbed it, we run from it, we're a workaholic, we drink alcohol, we eat, we have relationships, whatever it is we use to run from that emotion and not feel it, to heal it, we project. Projection is taking whatever it is you don't want to feel and pushing it out in some form. We lose our patience with somebody, we snap at somebody, we are angry with them, we say something mean. I mean, it's a sliding scale, obviously. We can let rude comments slip out, we can cut somebody off in traffic, we can scream at somebody, we can throw a plate at their head. You know, it goes on, but that's projection. Projection is what happens when we haven't processed or taken responsibility for what's going on inside us that we're feeling, and we don't want to feel it, we're scared of it. Again, fear, the ego. We think an emotion can define us and break us. And so we run from or attack it and project it. So coming into the idea of forgiveness here is firstly understanding what projection is, so that when we know we do it and we know other people do it, when somebody else is projecting, being rude, saying something angry, acting out of line, it's unacceptable, it's unpleasant, it's offensive, we don't take it personally. Meaning we don't internalize it. We don't let it affect how we feel in our hearts, how we feel in our body, how we believe about ourselves, how we feel about our life, how we identify. It's like water off a duck's back. It's like we have a bubble sanctuary here, and their actions just sort of melt right off the aura, the auric field. The light in the auric field is so strong, the projection doesn't come through. We don't take it personally. And when we don't take it personally, we're not being attacked. So there's no fear. And where there's no fear, there's no need for anger. Where there's no fear, there's no pain. There's just an understanding. And from that place, we can actually take empowered action. It doesn't make their behavior acceptable. It doesn't make our behavior acceptable when we project. And we can start to hold ourselves accountable and hold other people accountable in a way that is kind and steady, patient, compassionate, powerful, fierce. All these things, all these qualities that are unassailable, that are fearless, that are based in love. I hold you to a higher standard than that. You are better than that. Let's talk about how to get through this in a better way. You're better than that. Let's look at conflict resolution here. That just came out of your mouth could be hurtful to me. And anything you say that's angry or offensive or aggressive, it's that Buddhist saying, anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. You're poisoning yourself. And so when we have that right perception, we've shifted from victim to understanding what projection is, and somebody's projecting at us their anger, their aggression. We go, brother, you're drinking poison right now. Put it down. Let's talk about a better way to do this, because what you do to yourself, you do to me too. You're binding both of us in this prison of fear and pain and not good enough. Let's put that toy down. Let's put that cup of poison down. Let's do this better. So now we want to hold ourselves accountable. We want to help ourselves, and we want to do the same for the world around us. From that place of truth, we have forgiven. It doesn't mean turn the other cheek. It means go right in. It doesn't mean look away. It means look straight at it, but not with the lens of guilt, shame, blame, judgment. That's ego, that's victim. Victim needs to judge, needs to blame to feel powerful. right? The sadness needs to then get angry. The weakness needs to attack. Nah, different box, different lens. Look straight at the behavior, straight at the pain, straight at the emotion, straight at the fear, and say, we are better than this. This isn't the truth of what we are. Let's find a better way to express, to exist, to interact with ourselves internally so we can take that externally. Fear binds the world. When we allow fear to grow inside of us or to inspire, motivate any of our words and actions, we are imprisoning ourselves. And any action or word taken then from that place and shined out into the world is taking those same chains and wrapping it around anything else we sit next to or interact with. Forgiveness sets it free. That shift from victim to the empowered, from weak to unbreakable, from not worthy, not good enough to a beautiful process always rising in the gorgeous mechanism of alchemy. So that's our talk today. Fear binds the world, forgiveness sets it free. So let us set ourselves free today, setting down the illusions of the ego, setting down the illusions of limitation, setting down the illusions of separation, setting down the illusions of being afraid of each other, of attacking, of judging, of self-criticism, of victim. We're not a victim of the world we see. We are powerful, powerful creators. And the light that shines within can shine without. We just have to take the cover off our eyes. We have to remove all the blocks we've built up against love so it can come in and heal us with the truth. Remember, truth does not attack, truth just is. Which means there's not a whole heck of a lot we have to go out and do. It's our being. Because when we are in that truth, it's a tsunami. So let's be that today. Lots of love. Thank you so much. Please comment, ask questions, share stories. I'd love for this to be a dialogue from pain to peace, from trauma to triumph, from worry to faith. Have an amazing day.